How often do you try and solo just to feel let down by what comes out? Like you know the key, you know the scale, but something's still missing. Well, it's not that you suck. Most of us guitar players wind up getting misled at some point. We're told to just find the key and then play, but what we're missing is how we can actually express ourselves on the fretboard and emphasize the music we're playing over. So over the next few minutes, I'm gonna show you the same 4 ideas I've taught in hundreds of lessons to help intermediate guitarists actually be able to solo with the scales they already know. And at the end, I'll give you a clear practice plan so you can lock all of this in your playing. Starting with number 1, bending and sliding. Bending and sliding is one of the most important things to incorporate into your soloing because it's one of the most guitar sounds that there are. There aren't many other instruments that can have that sound. Maybe some keyboards you can have a little bendy on, but most other instruments don't have the ability to bend between notes or really have that slide between notes like we can on the guitar. Let's start with a little sliding action. There's a huge mistake I see a lot of guitar players make where when they go to slide, they do this. Watch me here. You'll notice I'm following my hand with my eyes like this. That's criminal. The best way to be accurate with your sliding is to snipe where you want to go. So let's say I'm going from the 2nd fret to the 7th fret here. Instead of following my finger on the way up, I'm just going to look at the 7th fret. So I'm on the G string right now, 2nd fret, staring at the 7th fret, boom, boom, boom. Now with my eyes closed. That's a really good way to lock it in. If you stare at it, then close your eyes. If you can slide it with your eyes closed, how are you gonna miss? And then for our bends, this is a crazy way to lock them in. Play the note you're starting on, then play the note you wanna go to, and then try and bend up to it. That was sharp? Oh, there we go. See, because then you get it into your head, so you know. Ba, flat, ba, sharp, ba, there we go. Ba, ba, ba. It's a lot easier to be able to bend there when you have that pitch in your head, and then you can just remember that amount of pressure. And a very common problem that you just kind of saw me do here is getting the other strings kind of in the way, like, right? That D string, it falling under my ring finger, like that, it sounds like shit. The reason that happens is because when you bend up, you're bending into the string and then it snaps under your finger. So what you want to do is make sure that when you bend, you kind of cup your finger under the string. Like, let's say this is the string you're on, this is the string above you're bending through. You want to kind of scoop into it so that the top part of your finger here catches the string and holds onto it. See here, the string is like way hooked up on my finger. So it can't really fall because it's almost like on my nail. And that way it doesn't snap in, it doesn't make an awful sound when you don't want it to. And to actually use our slides and our bends contextually, we want to think about what notes we're really going to. So when I'm playing a solo, I'm not just willy-nilly bending, right? This little loop I have set up is kind of in our little A minor pentatonic box, or at least you could use that to play over it. So when I think about where I'm going to bend, I think about what notes surround the notes I'm playing. So if I'm on this 7th fret on the G string, I know I can go up a whole step, so I can bend up a whole step, I'm waffling it, or slide up a whole step. So I think about where are the surrounding notes I can bend to, and that could look like this. Number 2 is going to be triads. This is an even better way to know what notes we can actually pick in our solos when we're bending, when we're sliding, when we're playing anything, because our triads are actually just our chords all over the neck. So if you've ever been like, how do you play over the chords? How am I supposed to know where all the chords are? There's so many spots the chords are. This is how. This is how you would know where all of the chords are, because they're all of the chords. Every chord you know, let's take our G chord for example, is built out of triads, because a triad is a 3-note chord, and let's look, 1, 2, 3, 3-note chord, 1, 2, 3, 3-note chord, 1, 2, 3. That one's less of a triad because there's a repeat note. Usually the triad consists of the 1, 3, and the 5 of any given scale. So let's say we're doing C major, right? If we relate that to the C major scale, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Then we just pick out the first, the third, and the fifth note. Boom, triad, boom, triad, boom, triad. You can find them anywhere. And when you're actually using them, you want to think about where the triads are on the chords you're actually playing over. So this loop I have set up has some not so straightforward chords. We have a C major 7, and then it goes to this A minor 11. So C major 7, we're going to be 3 on A, 5 on D, 4 on G, 5 on B. A minor 11, we're going to be 5 on E, 5 on D, we're skipping the A, 5 on G, 3 on B. So let's just start with those first two chords. If I was thinking about the triads, I would first think about what's our basic triads. So we have C, just C. Fuck the major 7. I mean, you don't have to, but let's think about just C. When we have our triad, we can pick out the intervals inside of it. So we know it's 1, 3, 5. So we have our 1 and 5. We have a 1 again here, and then a 5 up top, or sorry, a 3 up top. When we want to find the extensions of these triads to like build a major 7, I always relate it to those intervals that we just picked out. Because I know, for example, that the major 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, is only a half step below our 1. So any 1 I have anywhere, boom, in a triad, I can turn it into a major 7 by just bringing the 1 down a half step. And I really mean anywhere. Ba, 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 ba. So when you have that understanding of the intervals, it's infinitely easier to really pick them out. And then for our A minor 11, we start with just a basic A minor chord, same as that C major. So we have a 1. Now our minor has a flat 3, and a 5. So I would find, where are those notes? And 11's a little confusing because you might be thinking, well, where the fuck is an 11? Well, once we get to 1 again, you can think of that as being 8. It can keep going up. So we have 8 is 1, 9 is 2, 10 is 3, and 11 is 4. Bada bing, bada boom. 4 is 1 less than 5. So we have 1, 3, 5. Ba. It goes down 1 note in the scale. Boom, that's our 11. So these triads are so important because they're the root of the basic knowledge, but they're also the root of the extended knowledge. And if I was to really focus on the chord tones, on the triads of this progression, it could look like this. And if you're serious about improving, one of the best things you can do is be around other players that are putting the work into improving. That's why I opened a private community where I only let in players that are actually putting the work into getting better. The best part is it's completely free, linked right down below, and you can join right now. Number 3 is going to be locking in your ears. Having your ears connected to the instrument is one of the most powerful things you can do, especially if you're trying to play with other players. I recently was hosting a party at my house, and we were having, good old time hanging out, shooting the shit, jamming around. We were playing songs, some of us knew the songs, some of us didn't. I was playing songs I knew, I was playing songs I didn't know, same for everybody else. There was this one fun song we were playing, I think Tonight or whatever, one of their popular ones. And I remember there was just one of my friends was playing on the piano, and at the very end, they were nailed to it. And I was like, oh my God, did you know that one already? That was really tight. And they were like, nah, I've never played that before, I've just heard it. And it was one of those times I was like, wow, their ear might even be better than mine, because my ear's not the worst, right? But I'm not perfect at always playing everything that I hear. That's one of the things that the tighter you have your ear, you really can just hear an idea or hear a progression or know a song in your head. Boom, you're playing it. It's that straightforward. A great way to really internalize the notes is to relate it back to the intervals that we were talking about earlier. So if we go back to C major here and count up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. You can sing with those notes. I think it's helpful to stick to 1 and hum. Make sure you really catch that pitch. 1. Go to the next one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And it's not about just singing in this scale, but finding all of your ideas inside of that. So if I think about a little line here, like we have 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, and then what did I go to? This is 5, bending up to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 3, 2, 1. And finding how your ideas that you're already playing fit into those intervals and singing with them is huge, because then you're linking your head to your hands and you're linking your ears to the music of the guitar. Number 4 is going to be the metronome. I know a lot of players out there that hate using a metronome. They're like, dude, I'm not using the metronome. It sucks. And I have a message for you specifically if you relate with that. The metronome is actually your best friend. The reason you don't like using it is because your rhythm is not tight. The metronome cannot go off beat. That's the only thing that a metronome does, is play a beat consistently. So if you're struggling to play with the metronome, you're cooked. You can't play with other people then, okay? You can't play consistently by yourself. If you're on stage, people are even going to notice that you're out of rhythm. There's this one guy I used to play with at an open mic with, who, great dude, but we all know, like, we would even chat with the other musicians, like, because we would play with him, you know, at an open mic, you hop up, you jam with people, we'd be like, dude, he's a great guy, but he is so hard to, like, match up with because his rhythm is so fucking shaky. And I've never asked the guy, but I doubt he's used a metronome. There's no way. Because if he was tight to a metronome, he'd be tight to a groove. So you really want to think about, if you're struggling with the metronome, is that something you're going to live with for your whole life? Or are you going to get tight with the metronome and then have tight rhythm? One of the best ways to start using a metronome is to just play songs with it. So let me think of a song that I haven't played in these videos all the time because I repeat songs a lot. Let's do All Right by Zach Brown. That's a sick song. I've never played that with a metronome. Let me think about how it goes. And so I'll find how that I can click to it, and I'll try and play along with the metronome as an example that you want to just be used to playing with the click. So this song, at least in my head, is around 78 BPM. I haven't checked this with the track, but what matters really is that you're in line with the metronome, not necessarily that you're in line with the song, unless you're playing with the song. Here's how I like to use the metronome. I just turn it on and I just play a song to it, and I try and make that metronome really groove. Because if the metronome is grooving, you know you're actually grooving, and the metronome is just holding you in line. So not only can you play along with a song, but you can also use the metronome as one of the best tools to learn licks that are like fucking impossible. Like if you're picking up a song and you're trying to learn a solo and you're like, dude, there's no way I can play that lick. Like it's something really quick, right? You can just slow it down. I'll often figure out the lick without trying to play to a beat first. Like if you can't play just the notes, you're not playing it in time. Not possible. But once you have the notes down and you can, like, you know, waffle your way through them, whatever it may be, you can then set a metronome up super slow and lock it in time, slow, and then speed up that metronome gradually, getting you to the pace of the song. This is why the metronome is your best friend, because the metronome is what's going to allow you to play things that you cannot now play. This includes speeding up the metronome to a rate that feels uncomfortable to play at and sitting at it a little bit till you get comfortable with it, right? Because then you're kind of like, it's kind of like when you're at the gym and you're pushing a weight that's uncomfortable for you until you fail. You want to fail on the guitar because that's how you find the ranges you can't play at and then sit in them until you can. Let's lock all of these in with a clear practice plan, and I swear to God, if I find out you're doing any of these without a metronome, we have beef. Because the metronome is your friend, okay? I mean that. So we're gonna start with 5 minutes of bending up to a note. So if you get your metronome on, right? Let's just do, let's do something slow here, like 50 BPM, 50 BPM. That's sluggish, right? Play a note. Okay. Play a note, then play the note you want to go to. Once you feel like you have them both in your head, try and bend to it. That was flat. That was a little flat, but close. That was sharp. But it's good to note, there we go. And try and be consistent with it. If you sit here and do this for 5 minutes, your bends are going to be insane. And once you get really comfortable with one, you can move to another one. So we're here. You want to be on different strings on different parts of the fretboard, doing different ranges of bends. These have both been whole step bends, so I'm making it a little easy on myself, right? That was flat. That was flat again. Sometimes you got to get it back in your head. There we go. I'm showing you that I need to do this exercise, apparently. And then let's do a different one. Let's do just a half step bend. Let's do from here to here. So doing that, different ranges of bending, different strings, different ranges of the neck is going to make bending so much easier later, especially if you bend without ringing the note out, right? Because we're used to bending like, it's really much easier to find the pitch if you're hearing the note the whole time, right? When you're trying to bend without hearing it, it's so much harder because you have to be pure muscle memory exactly to a T on the note. Then we're going to spend 5 minutes sliding to notes. So let's get that same metronome on again, 50 BPM, something slow. By the way, as you get comfortable with this, you can speed it up. Remember, the metronome is your friend. And we're going to play a note, play the note we want to go to, ba, ba, and then try sliding to it. I was a little off beat, right? There we go. And remember to look where you want to slide to. Ba, ba, and then as you get comfortable, you can move. And just try different slides, right? Get comfortable sliding around the neck. The reason we're spending 5 minutes doing such a basic thing is because then you're comfortable with the basic action, okay? If you're not comfortable with the action, how are you going to use it in your playing? It's going to be much harder. Then we're going to spend 5 minutes drilling our triads. This is huge, and this is something most players never do, which is crazy because most piano players do this, genuinely. It's one of the first things you learn on piano, and it's one of the things nobody ever teaches you on the guitar, is just drilling your triads, just actually spamming the notes of a given chord. So you want to say, oh, I'm on G. You want to find all of your G triads and literally sit there and play all of them with what? With what? With what? With the metronome on. Yes, of course. So let's get that metronome going again, 50 BPM. And obviously I don't expect you to immediately be able to snipe out all of any given chord, but as you find them, drilling them out like that is going to make your life so much easier when you're trying to grab chord tones. Imagine if you could play the same chord all over the neck and someone was like, yo, target the chord tones. You'd be like, okay. Boom, right? So it makes it so much easier. And we're going to take our last 5 minutes here. It's a little 20-minute routine because you have 20 minutes to practice guitar. You probably spent 20 minutes watching this video. I don't know. I haven't made it yet. But we're going to spend 5 minutes singing our intervals. This is great because, by the way, you can also incorporate this into any of the past exercises, kind of except for that triad one. So the bending one and the sliding one. if you root them to a key, which I was kind of doing all of those ones in like a little C major, you can pick out the intervals and sing along with it. So 1, 2, 1, 2, with what? With the metronome on. Let's put it again, 50 BPM. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then mix it up. Let's do 5, 6, 5, 6. You really want to just be singing as many different intervals as you can to really, 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 really get comfortable with them. And if you want to have a routine that's tailor-fit to you, that's exactly what I'm all about. I help intermediate guitarists get out of the pentatonic rut and actually unlock the fretboard. So if you're tired of being stuck, check out this video right here to see exactly how I help players just like you unlock the fretboard. I'm just having fun at that point.